Hi everyone, it's Niamh here and welcome to my art journaling channel. Today we're going to be doing a layered collage using lots of different stuff in the background, including some gel printing. So I'm starting off with this craft A4 page, and I am inking up my gel plate and just using it as a stamp basically. I was just playing. It's been a long time since I've used my gel plate, and I just wanted to have a go and see what I could sort of come up with. So I wanted to get lots of different textures. This is the outside of a Dina Wakley stamp set. I'm really loving using it like this because I absolutely adore the pattern of it. Where I'm not wanting the ink on the page, I am taking it off with a piece of deli paper. So I'm sort of filling in the gaps and getting these overlapping bits and pieces. Now I'm going in with some black to do a image transfer. So I've got a really glossy magazine with a figure on it, putting on a really thin layer of black paint and then pulling it off and popping on some text. So both text and images work really well. This is a bit of a hit and miss technique. Sometimes it works really well for me and sometimes it doesn't, but I'm not precious about it. So I do have some other how to transfer images using a gel print on this channel. If you just search up how to do a image transfer, you'll find them. Lots of other people have really good instructions on how to do that too, but just be aware there are lots of different ways to do it, and some will work and some won't. I think this one didn't. You can see it's very, very inky and very, very black. Did it? I can't remember. Oh, it did work. You're never 100% sure what's going to happen, so just be aware. Now I'm using the inside of a washi tape roll to stamp the background. So it really was just about layering it around. You can see on the end print, I then printed over again with a lighter colour the circles again, because I just wanted a little bit of lightness on the page. So now I'm going in with the black again just to get a really sort of random effect. I suppose a lot of people sort of wonder why people use gel prints, and there's a whole heap of different reasons really, but it's all about just creating these layers and creating different bits and pieces. So with this piece I had some paint in the background, and then I ended up with this botanical stencil that I used the mask on, so you can see you can get a really clear print with that. Now I'm going in and doing another print with the blue, and I think I'll do another print. So I'm going to put this down and then stamp away. So I've got the another gel print, then I've got this stamped onto my gel plate and I can draw out around it. So it's a very faint ghost print, I suppose, of that botanical that I've put back on again. I'm going to collage on this piece too because I really like its graphic nature onto the page. So I'm just putting some gel medium down and gluing that over the page, both top and bottom. So this is just really, really, really about layering up, about some things being really intentional, some things being really accidental, and just working out what works best. So again, I'm putting this on so I can get a yellow print. And you can sort of see that faint botanical in the background. If it doesn't work for you, just do it again. It really doesn't matter how it all works. It's all about trial and error, which is what I really love about using gel prints. These little bits of paper, deli paper that sort of get left behind, I use in collages. I split up and sort of chuck in here, there and everywhere, which I really like using. So you can see I'm trying to match up little bits of colour. I've got that little bit of yellow, I've got this little bit of the botanical print, I've got a bit of yellow up the top too, just to sort of pull it all together. So it is all about, I suppose, when you're doing a finished piece like this, it's all about using sort of your knowledge of colour theory and what works and what doesn't. and not being afraid to change it and add extra bits to it. So for this one, for example, just having the freedom to put the dots over the top of it sort of helps to tie it together. It leads your eye around the page. Well, I also find when I'm doing stuff like this to be able to actually trim out the excess pieces of the end really helpful. For this, I decided I was going to do another bit of botanical, but I wanted the text on it, so I just drew around it and I'm going to cut it out. I got the yellow on the back by using the gel plate and just printing it onto the back to transparency and leaving it to dry. So it does take longer to dry. You can't really use a heat gun on it, but it's a great way to add colour to your transparencies in a block amount, so you can sort of do up your, put colour on your gel plate and then print it onto your transparencies just to make it look more interesting. So I wasn't 100% sure what I wanted to use in this piece. I found that was a little bit too dark. Wasn't sure if it was going to go on. Am I going to use the offcuts around the side? While I'm waiting and thinking about it, I'm going to go and put some extra colour on. So I'm using some turquoise, again picking up on some of the colours from the background. So I often find that I do this quite regularly when I'm using or doing collages like this, when I have to think for a little bit. I will go to my paint pens and do some dots or do some dashes or do something so my brain can concentrate to actually work out what it wants to do. Because I really liked the yellow, but it was too dark with that black, I decided to put it in with a paint pen instead. But I did decide that I did want to put a transparency on here in some way. So I've got this sun from the Dina Wakley Focal Set 1, I think it is. Just putting a little bit of white onto where the eyes are, and then I'm going to glue this down on the page too. The, the glue will dry on the page, and it does go invisible almost in the end, which is really handy. So once I've finished, then I've got another sun that I decided I might put on. But at this stage, I was still just fiddling around. I wasn't sure what I wanted to put on to the final result to make it look finished, so to speak. So down the end, I've got the other sun, and I've just trimmed off the extra. So over the top of the black transparency, I'm just putting in some white scribbly lines just to sort of help blend it into the background. I'm also putting in some additional white from the eyes so that you can see that. Again, if you're heating over the transparencies, you do need to be really careful that you're not heating too directly on the transparency, because it will curl and it will bend. Finally, just to add a little bit of balance to the page, even though it's totally crazy, I decided that I would add some white stamping. And I did use some of the offcut up the top to create my final piece. So it's very layered. There is a lot happening on this page, but I really like how it turned out. Now, I could put that in a frame if I wanted to. What I ended up doing is actually taking a good scan of this page once it was all dry, and I printed out to use as part of making some of my ATCs in the future. So I can just, I've got a decorated background, I can just cut it up. And if I don't want to cut up this one, I've got the image that I can print out and use again in the future, which I really love doing. It just gives me a bank of some of my own artwork that I use personally. I don't sell it, but I've got it sort of sitting there that I can use when I've, want to do something quickly, but I don't have time to do a background. I've got one that I can print out. So here you can see all the layers of gel prints in the background. A lot of the gel prints that we did got covered over, but that's the beauty of doing these things. You just see the glimpses of them through the layers, which is what I really love. I also really liked how all the transparencies ended up working on the page once I sort of worked out where I wanted to put them. So I hope you have a go at using your gel plates in your artwork, whether it's straight into your journal or onto a separate page. It's lots of fun, and it certainly gets the creative juices flowing. Until next time, bye for now.